Hey there, so this is the final version of my edited app. It's much neat and clean as you would have liked it. Now we start with the home page where we see all the recipes in all the groups because that is the setting here. So every recipe that has been shared is displayed on the home page here. Now let's look at the sidebar. Now we click the my recipe option. Now that's where we were. Let's go to the my groups. So we can see that we have three groups currently, and we can view the members in a group or leave a group here. Let's create a test group. Let's name it test and select one member other than us to actually be there in the group and then create. So when we create the group, let's go and view. So we can see that there's Joe and then there's one more member which we added. Let's now uh, look at the filter. Now the test group is here, but there are no recipes shared in that group, and that's why you cannot view a recipe in here. Let's add a recipe then. The first tab of a recipe add is like introduction tab where you have picture, description, and name. So let's fill in some dummy data here, including a picture and description. Now we go to the ingredients tab where we have the option of adding or removing multiple ingredients with their name, quantity, and the quantity unit. The last tab is instructions where we can add multiple steps for a dish and add GIFs, which is basically a short video. Uh, and once the GIF has been added, we have basically the facility to preview the video here. We can add multiple videos or steps here. So videos can correspond to steps, and then we basically press done in order to save the recipe. So yeah. So once the recipe is saved, we have the option to actually choose where do we want to share the recipe, in which groups do we want to share the recipe. So now we'll get, let's click on done now. So now we'll get a list of the groups including test. So let's try and share the recipe in the test group. Now, because we just created it, now when we press done, this recipe should be shared in the test group. It's easy to see, it's highlighted in green here, and yeah, this should be shared in the test group. Now let's go and verify in the test group. So here we can see that the test group, since the filter is already test, so the HSH, the dummy name which we gave the recipe with the picture, is already here. Now yeah, so let's look at another group. Now we can verify that the recipe that we shared was not available in the other group. Now let's look at the filter functionality. So here we can see the filter functionality actually overrides the um, the keyword functionality actually overrides the filter. Now because that's helpful because you may not remember which group shared which recipe. Yeah, so that's why keeping that in mind we have done that. Now we can look at the uh, structure of the recipe. It starts with a picture with name and description, and then the ingredients, and then yeah. So let's look at a better detailed recipe here. So ingredients and the name, as I said earlier. Now and then we follow that with the um, now at the bottom there you saw that the shared by name. Yeah, we can see who shared the recipe and when. Now when we go to the instructions tab, we have the ability to view all the steps and the gifts that have been shared, and then again created by and date and time. Now what we can do here is we can try and look at some recipe that we created so that we are able to actually edit something. So let's try and select something we created. So here we have the option to edit. Now we can actually go in and change the name of the recipe, change whatever steps or details we want to change, and let's do that. So once we are done, we say, okay, we're satisfied with this. Now, what we can actually do is we can select again if we want to share it in the same group or some other group. Now let's change it to no Joe allowed group. Now, basically what will happen is the recipe will move from the test group to the no Joe allowed group. and we'll shortly see verify this. Let's verify this now. So uh, let's go in and filter by test. We'll see that there's no recipe here. Now let's say Nojo allowed. Nojo allowed has the recipe test. Let's now, yeah, and use first group. So basically no other group will have, because we shared it in Nojo allowed, that's why it has that recipe. And we can see the details here. We can also remove a recipe. Now we'll see that the test recipe is gone. It will not be available in any of the groups or any of the views here. Yeah. So yeah, and again my groups, we can now I was thinking whether or not to give the option to actually leave the group or remove the group. So I decided on giving the option only to leave the group, because there, if you remove group or if you delete a group, it will affect not only you but maybe 20 other people who are in the group. So if you want to leave the group, you leave it, and now the group will be deleted only if all the members leave the group. So that's something which I thought would be handy in case somebody really wants to do it. So let's leave the group, and now we'll see there's no test group here and no test group in the filters, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.